Hello, hello. It's the weekend. Finally, Saturday. Y'all know it's rare for me to be on a Saturday night. But if you have been following my channel, you know that I have been deep into accessory organization, pulling things out, trying to get um, some organization to my accessories. And there is a bag that I'm going to talk about for a brief moment tonight and share with you some of my accessories. Hi, Lucinda. Happy Saturday. So I'm going to give the room just another minute for maybe a couple more people to get in while we're waiting for a few more folks. If you would go ahead and hit the thumbs up for PM edition of Tribe Time. So, couple of things. So, the first is there is a sale that is currently going on ILD. Bags, it's a $129 deal. Hi, Shirley. $129 is the promotion that they're running right now. There's a small little cluster of bags that are currently on sale for 129 that have either appeared or reappeared that I think are worth a look if you have not taken the plunge into some of these. That first bag is the Pebbled Tammy Tote. I personally don't have the Tammy tote. I really want a Tammy because she's east west, where Pammy is more north south. But Tammy has a center zip. And if you've been with me on this channel for any period of time, you know me and center zips have a hate, not even a love hate, but a hate relationship. But at $129 in pebbled leather, thank you, Shirley. I would recommend the color ecru and oyster as well as white. Those would be the three colors that immediately catch my attention. I like the color wine in that bag, but in purchasing wine accessories this year in Pebble from Dooney, the wine is a bit flat. It's matte. It doesn't have any kind of luster or sheen or brightness to it. So that's the reason that that one didn't make the list for me. But ecru, oyster, white, colors that you can virtually use season in, season out at $129. If the center zip is not a deal breaker for you, then I would absolutely recommend that one. The next item is the large Murphy backpack. Now, I'm going to take a beat right there because y'all know I purchased the large Murphy backpack in Florentine and was severely devastated because I could not get my laptop in that bag. So even though it's a large backpack, it's not large enough for it to truly be a laptop for work or a laptop bag suitable for work or travel. It, in essence, is the size of the large Hattie. So if that size bag works for you and you would prefer to carry Hattie on your back instead of over the shoulder, then a $129 large Murphy backpack would be the way to go. If you are also maybe the mom that is the soccer mom, the parent that is always on field trips with little ones, chaperoning, if that is your thing, then I would absolutely recommend picking up the $129 large Murphy backpack in pebble leather. It will be indestructible. It'll be great for outings. It's a little big, in my opinion, for amusement parks just because I have a smaller, older Dooney backpack that I use for like amusement parks and stuff that's similar to the pod backpack. But that one, in that size, in that leather, at that price point, You can't go wrong with that one. So that was number 2. Number 3 is the Pebble Grain double strap tassel bag. If you recall, during the summer fun sale, I picked up both a Saffiano and a pebbled leather version of that bag. I I like the size of that bag. I love the shoulder drop. What I realized after carrying that bag and comparing it to the Davis tassel tote is that I prefer the zip. I prefer a zip closure, particularly when I'm traveling, especially when I'm on a plane and my bag has to go under the seat and it may need to lay. Thank you, Florentine Quack. And it may need to lay on its side. I'm paranoid that like my lip gloss or hand lotion or something is gonna come rolling out of my bag during takeoff. But at $129, Pebble Grain, it is a great size, great shoulder drop. You shouldn't have any problem getting that shoulder drop over your, thank you, Sharon. You should not have any problems getting that shoulder drop over like your puffer coats or your pea coats for this cold weather. $129, you cannot beat that one. I'm not picking up another Pebble Grain double tassel just because, again, I want it with a zipper and it doesn't have that. But for those of you that may be looking for recommendations or trying to find a perfect gift for someone, thought that these would be some really good options for you. Have one more recommendation for you at the $129 price point. This bag was on pre-order way too far in advance, in my opinion, and you've heard sip and cuss on it probably a few times. It is currently available, at least in the small size, at the outlets. I was in Chicago at the outlet 2 weeks ago, and it was there. It's 40% off in Florentine. Thank you, Roslyn. But the Pebbled Grain Ashton in $129. I don't think that it is in my opinion, it is a cousin, like a second cousin to the small Russell. But there is another bag with a different brand, and I'm going to talk about it a little bit later. I didn't bring the brochure in here with me to film, so I'm not going to, I think I have it in my phone. All right. But Ashton at $129, I think if you're looking for a cousin to the small Russell, this would be an option at $129. If you're looking for something that I think is a bit closer to the small Russell, then I'm going to recommend another brand to you. So just hang tight for that. But the last thing that I want to share with you on ILD is that if you have heard all of the hype on the different YouTube channels about the Mackenzie Hobo, and you missed out when that bag was available in 20,000 colors on QVC, the Mackenzie Hobo reappeared this weekend on ILD. It is a whopping $246, but it's not currently available on QVC, so there's no easy pay or Dooney pay option. And there are 3 colors available, and there are 3 colors that were not previously available when the bag was on QVC, and that is plum wine, teal, and ivy. So if either of those 3 colors is of interest to you and the price point of $246 is within your budget, within your wheelhouse to make that happen, it has an amazing strap, a perfect slouch. It's in the Wexford leather, so the color is extremely saturated. The colors are perfect for this time of year. Again, Mackenzie Hobo on ILD, $246. Plum wine, teal, and ivy. Those 3 colors are available. So that concludes my ILD section with the $129 bag recommendations, as well as the reappearance, the relaunching of the McKinsey Hobo on ILD for $246. All right. So I wish I had brought in the brochure, but I'm not gonna run to the dining room. So I'm just gonna pull up some text messages from earlier and share with you a couple things. So the first is, if you recall, it's probably been 3 years now. Three? Yeah, I think it's been 3 years that I purchased a leather duffel bag from a leather company by the name of Floto, Floto Imports. I still know that I owe a comparison between the Floto bag and the Dooney and Burke Florentine duffel. And maybe because I'm like off for the month of December and I only have one more business trip left for this year, I think between decorating for Christmas and filming, I should be able to finally get that one done. But Floto Imports, if you're looking for an alternative, do I want to call it inexpensive? If you are looking for a deal on leather and you are looking for Italian vegetable dyed leather, if you are looking for a Connecticut address, if you are interested in ensuring that American workers have jobs, then this would be a brand for you. The lining of these bags are made in my home state of South Carolina. The bags are crafted in Connecticut, and the leather is hand stained in Italy. The company again is Floto Imports. They are currently having an amazing sale. The sale goes until the end of January. So the code that I'm about to give you for an additional 20% off is good all the way through the holiday season until the end of January. So you have an opportunity to, really go through the site, take advantage of the sale that they are having now, and the additional 20% is on top of their current sale prices. The discount code for the additional 20% is holiday with a capital H 20. So if someone would capture that in the chat for me, it's holiday with a capital H, no space, 20. That is the discount code for the additional 20% off. And that code, thank you, Lucinda, that code is good until the end of January. Now, there are a few bags from this collection that are on my radar. I have not pulled the trigger yet. Many of you know that my birthday is next month. And right now I have been all in the world of Sephora, Beautylish, Macy's, Pat McGrath. I am in like beauty product mode. Not to mention, y'all know I'm still kind of in a little beef with Dooney over that leisure shopper. So I'm not going there tonight. But I'm not, I've set a budget for myself for handbag purchases going through the holidays. I didn't say I set a budget for anything else. It was just for bags and SLGs. But when exploring new brands, and this is not a new brand for me, my duffel bag is right. I can see my duffel bag from here. So it's not a new brand for me, but I understand that this could be a new brand exploration for many of you that are in the chat tonight. And if you're here, I'd ask that you go ahead and hit the thumbs up. A couple of things that I'd like to mention to you when you're exploring a new brand, an old brand, if you're trying to determine whether or not something is quality or not. The first thing that I would say is the stitching. All right. If there is loose stitching, if it looks like a thread that would hold a button, then it's not going to hold that leather plus the additional weight of the items that you put in there. So making sure that there is a thick enough thread and that the stitches are short. You want short, consistent stitches because that is quality. That's going to ensure that things are attached and that the stitch is not too long that it's going to pull or snag or give. So that's one thing you should be looking at is the quality of the thread and the stitching, the stitch pattern. The second biggest thing for me when it comes to leather, because it's hard to fake leather. You can't fake leather. There are things like vegan, right? Or plastic or PVC or whatever you want to call it. But what I'm talking about is when you walk into a store and you can tell that it is a leather bag. One of the things that if you study leather or watch or have done research on craftsmanship and things like that, what they will tell you is that the more pieces of leather you have to stitch together, the less quality that bag is. For leather, I want you to just think about a strainer. For those of you that cook, you know what I'm talking about, right? A strainer or colander, right? So if you pour something in a colander, liquid, right? Or if you pour something in a strainer, because of all of those holes with the stitches and because it doesn't have full pieces of leather, you're going to get things that are going to seep through. It's very similar when you start talking about leather. The more pieces of leather that are pieced or patched or stitched together, the higher the likelihood is that you're going to have issues with that bag, particularly where there are seams and pulls and a lot of thread, because it's not, the bottom is stitched together as opposed to it being a solid bottom. Or maybe it's a patchwork bag and now you've got places where maybe the patches have spread. Are y'all following what I'm saying? I feel like I'm just kind of talking in circles there. But you want pieces that are you want bigger pieces of leather. You don't want a bunch of pieces that have been stitched together to make your bag, if that makes any sense. This particular brand, very similar in my opinion. It's only been around, I think, since 2003. So not it hasn't been around as long as Dooney or whatever. And I'm not saying that it's Dooney and Berg, but I'm giving you some comparisons or comparator. The leather I've been pleased with. It does, when I first opened my duffel, it did kind of have like the smell of dye. So I don't know whether that was from the way that particular bag was processed, whether it was the way that it was packaged, whether it was fresh off of the assembly line. I don't know what it was, but that is a caution. It didn't smell to me the way Florentine leather smells, but it was still a really nice bag. Love the fact that assembly and components are made stateside. 20% off on top of their sales stuff, but what you're probably on the edge of your seat for is there is, let's see if it's going to cooperate with me. If you go to Floto Imports, there is a bag on there called Napoli, Napoli. It's a leather bag. It comes in a few different colors, brown, olive, Tuscan red. It comes in, I can't tell what that other color is. It's currently on sale for $167, and with the code that I mentioned earlier, you can get an additional 20% off of it. It has a 10.5-inch shoulder drop. So the desirable, a minimum desirable shoulder drop, not as long as the shoulder drop on Tilly, but a 1/2 inch longer than the shoulder drop is on the large zip Barlow, as an example from Dooney. It has an outside zip pocket. It has a zipper top closure. To me, that bag at 11.5 inches long, 11 inches high. Scratch what I said before. It's 11 inches north-south. It has a 5.5-inch butt on it, and it's 13 inches long. And correction, it has a 9-inch shoulder drop. 9-inch shoulder drop, so it is a little short on the shoulder drop. 11 north-south, 5.5 inches in the depth, and 13 inches long. In my opinion, that one is closer to the small Russell. And I'm just going to see if I can find the dimensions from a previous video to tell you what the dimensions were on Russell, the small Russell. The small Russell, it's actually bigger than the small Russell. Okay, so the small Russell was 10.5 tall, north-south. This one that I'm recommending from Floto is 11. The Floto is 5.5 inches in the butt or in the depth, and the Dooney Small Russell, which is not available, you're not missing out on anything, is 5 1/4. The small Russell is 12 inches long. The one that I just mentioned from Floto is 13 inches. So if you are looking for a cost-conscious alternative to the small Dooney & Burke Florentine Russell, then I'm recommending the Napoli bag from Floto Imports, and that's Napoli bag. Remember to use the code that I gave at the beginning of the live stream for an additional 20% off of the already discounted price. Yes. So if I know that we've had the conversation around, whether or not Dooney's going to bring it back or not. One thing that I am learning in this state of festivity with Dooney is that there are other brands that have other things, and they are more than happy to take my coins. So I've just given you an alternative. There are some amazing bags on this site. Again, I've been pleased with the duffel bag that I have. It would be an experiment or an exploration for many of you if you've not checked out the brand. But if nothing else, that bag, in my opinion, is worth it. And I do want to, again, remind you, the shoulder drop for this one was 9. I was thinking of another bag with the 10.5-inch shoulder drop. All right. So, for those of you that saw my little 20-second video from earlier today, you know that I am way deep over in the world of at least temporary organization. And by temporary, I mean that I've kind of gone from the clear boxes to some bins and baskets, and it continues to evolve. I am enjoying having things out a little bit more than I thought I would, as opposed to the color story boxes. Even though I still have some stuff in the color story boxes, I haven't completely abandoned that organization method. But I am enjoying being able to see the things, the accessories that I have. And if nothing more, having that stuff spread out right now in my living room on, in the floor is showing me that I can get even more selective about my accessory purchases. But that being said, for the month of October, I carried the large Clara MCM Clara Hobo in the color cocoa. That was my version of pink for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I was going to change bags last weekend, and I had to rush to the airport for a flight, so I did not get a chance to change. But I am going to change bags this weekend. And there are a couple of bags that I've been debating about carrying, but what I thought about is the fact that we're coming up on virtually the 1 year anniversary of the discovery and the closure of HB, Henri Bendel. And I still have sitting in my dining room, thank goodness there are other places to eat in this house, um, bags from HB that I have not carried. They are still in the plastic, unlike some of the returns that I have gotten as of late from Dooney. But they are still packaged, and I am looking forward to moving in to them. So I don't know how much longer this live stream is gonna last, but I'm gonna cover everything that I wanted to cover tonight, which is this HB bag, and then showing you my accessory color story for tonight. So this bag is the HB Influencer Tote. And this is her. This is the HB, the Influencer Tote. And if you have hung around and were in the live chat the night, or maybe you watched on a replay, my rant about wanting Dooney and Burke to create a Big Bertha. Do you remember that bag? I was on a rant, a little bit upset because of my HB Bowery tote and the wear on the leather straps. The leisure shopper not having outside pockets and would be absolutely perfect. Like, I don't know what you want to call it, give it a new name, but to take that same silhouette and add a large outside pocket front and back, I think would be absolutely amazing and even better. And I know it would be super heavy and super expensive, but to make it in Florentine would be divine. Well, it's that time of year, scarves, coats, hats, gloves, and I'm looking for a bag at least for the next couple of weeks until I switch into my Thanksgiving holiday bag that would be able to handle all of those extra pieces. So even though the Influencer Tote is not Big Bertha, this one is a relative of Bertha. So this is the back side of the bag. Shoulder drop is perfect for me. It does not have feet under the bottom, but on the front, in addition to the iconic HB stripes, right, the Centennial stripes, it has two large outside pockets. So whether I wanted to stick phones or I could slide my gloves in those, that is absolutely amazing. Then, this is the reason that I say it's a relative to Big Bertha. Front side of the bag, before we get into the center that has a zip, there are two big pockets here. So one on the front side of the bag. All right, so one on the front, one on the back. I think that these straps here are going to be perfect if if you have one of these or if you find it on the secondary market. I completely acknowledge HB is closed. But if you're looking for a place to like stick your sunglasses or a little key leash to keep your keys close, those are going to be absolutely perfect for that. And it has a magnetic closure here on the front, Centennial stripe lining, suede on the front wall. So there's tons of organization on the front, and then on the back you have the same setup. So tons of organization. I could fold up my hat, my scarf, put it in one. Phones are already on the outside. I don't even know what I would stick in that one. But then, excuse me, it has zipper closure, which you've heard at least tonight if you've not been around for long, that I love that. Extended zipper so that it's going to open wide. And then on the interior, the Centennial stripe. So no lining, so I can put in my bag organizer here in the inside. I also have the option of unsnapping the sides of the tote. And using it wide open as opposed to the snaps. Y'all know that me and the Alto Giovanni bag, along with the Zip Barlow, that I kind of like the wings on the side. So I doubt that I will be using it unsnapped. But there is the bag. Hardware has, and I don't know if it's going to show up on camera, but it's got little HBs all on the hardware front and back. And if I decided to put, my pins on the little hang tag, or if I wanted to completely remove it, I could do that as well. But I think I'm going to leave it on, and I've got a couple of pins for different organizations and stuff, and I think that I'm gonna keep that on there, and that way I can showcase some of my pins for a little bit. I do have a Twilly or Skinny Mini, but the color isn't right from HB, so I don't think that I'm gonna put this one on the bag. I don't know if I shared that with y'all or not. But Carmen, the color is, it's actually called Wine Tasting. It's in a ruby red. It's called Wine Tasting. So that's the color that's listed on the tag in here. All right. So I made up my mind. This is the bag that I'm going to carry next week. It has been, I think I carried the Bowery tote for 2 months, 3 months, something like that, until the strap started wearing. So I'm going to give this one a try. But as I was making up my mind about this one, you're welcome, Carmen. As I was making up my mind, I thought, you know what? I need to go and see what accessories I have, because I did not purchase an accessory specific to go with this bag. So I went and pulled out my purple, what I'm going to call my purple color story. And we're going to just kind of check and see what accessories I have in my little bin here that may or may not work with wine tasting. All right. So the first is this plum medium wristlet from Dooney and Burke. And I have had this forever, have never used it. I think it would be great for cards. I think it's a little too small for me to use as a tech case, but it's in the coated cotton, purple and gold, and I think I can make that work. What do y'all think? If I wanted to use this even as a card case in this bag, I think I could pull that off if I plum wine tasting. Okay. All right, so that is one item out of my, I call this my Prince box. Because I got all kinds of purple stuff in here. Not a lot of purple, but the purple pieces that I have make my heart flutter. All right, so that's the first piece. All right. The next item is also a Dooney and Burke, and this is just a nylon kiss lock. It has like a little bit of purple piping around the bottom of the bag. It has a solid top. It almost looks like wood, but it is covered in leather. And unlike the kiss locks of today, it does not have any organization. And it's, do y'all see how bright that pink is? So y'all know that's the reason I haven't used it. But I did get it from the outlet many moons ago. And I don't even know if do they even still sew tags in the inside of kiss locks? I don't know that I've registered the ones that I have, but when I got this, they were still, of course, you know, they were legitimate. This one I think was still made in China, but it does have the Dooney tag on it and the number for registration. So I don't know, maybe since I'm, you know, not gonna need all of my techie stuff, since I am wrapping up travel for work for this year, I might be able to use this as a tech case. I would feel better using it as a tech case because it doesn't have any card slots in it, but it does have the little purple, and I don't know, what do y'all think about that one? I probably should have done this as a lookbook, but I wanted the feedback. The next item is not even cosmetic. It's not SLG. It is a cosmetic set. And I got this one from MAC a couple of years ago. It was like a birthday thing. They all snap together. So you can use them individually or as a trio. But the top, you can see there's a little bit of purple there, and then you can see the zippers there. So I thought for cosmetics or a catch-all, my hand lotion, that kind of thing, that I could absolutely throw these in there, or any bag, quite honestly. Not as great. Y'all know how I feel about black, even in accessories, but I could make that work. And because it had that little bit of purple, it ended up in my purple story. Okay, the next item is the Henri Bendel purple multi About Town wallet. Yep. Do you see all that goodness? So it has a pocket, slip pocket on the back. Has the HB there on the front. Place for your cards, slip, phone, lipstick, wristlet, which is detachable, so you could use it as a wristlet. You could detach it and maybe hang your keys. You could keep the wristlet on and put your keys on if you wanted to. It has a slip pocket there in the back, and you can see the little HBs, zipper pocket, and then some additional card slots. So in person, you can't see when this goes completely purple just because of the lights. But for those of you that picked up, you know, the multicolored pieces or in the petrols, you know that in person, you can get it to shift and it will go a completely different color than I'm able to get it to show up here on camera. But when it does shift to that cranberry-like color, it does reflect a little bit. Can you see it there at the top? It's almost like it's reflecting there off the top, picking up the wine tasting color. But I thought about that one. The next one is another HB, and it is the Petrol Belmont Wallet Crossbody. And that is this one. So it can be used either as a crossbody or as a wallet. It has a slip pocket on the back, very similar to the About Town wallet. It has the buckle detailing here on the front. On the interior, the top flap, there are card slots and a slip pocket, all black interior. And then you have the Centennial stripes with a slip in the back. The chain crossbody strap. And then on the back side, there's some additional card slots. And another 2 slips here in the front. So I was not, when I got this one, one of my tribe sisters, I had gone back and forth. I had gone to the store in Atlanta and was completely undecided. I was expecting my Petrol Belmont tote, and I knew that I wanted a wallet to match. So that was why I really wanted this one. I ended up not getting that one. It didn't ship. But I did end up with a laptop bag, a Devon, I think it's called a Devon clutch. I know that I've not shared that on here, but I fell in love with this. So to me, this is a bit too dressy. It almost feels like jeans and t-shirt and then like prom dress. But the colors on this, the oil slick and the petrol, I'm loving it. It does pick it up. I just think it feels like compared to the wine tasting, the petrol makes the wine tasting look flat and boring to me. I don't know, it just does. And the very last item, I completely forgotten that I had it. And as I was going through my organization, pulled it out. The tassels were going a little wonky, so I put a brush guard on it to kind of get the tassels back in line. But I was really excited about this one. And I don't know that I'm going to pair it with this, but I definitely want to get it stored with its sisters. And that is the purple lambskin Carrington. This one has been packed up since it arrived. And let me give you the color. Not that it's available, but maybe on the secondary market, there may be a reseller out there that will post theirs. Actually, it's called Midnight Blue, but it reflects purple in person. What does it look like on camera? Is it showing blue or is it showing purple? It says that it's midnight blue, but in person, it's purple. And there it is in midnight blue. And let's see. Beside the wine tasting, does it look blue or does it look purple? I think the color is off. Because it definitely looks purple. It looks purple to me on camera. All right, I feel like I'm frozen. Am I frozen? Can y'all still hear me? Okay. Can you still hear me? All right, well, I guess I'm going to call it quits. If you would, if you enjoyed the PM edition of Tribe Time, please make sure to hit the thumbs up before you head out. I greatly appreciate you spending some of your Saturday night with me. I'm going to get ready to go and change bags. So thank you so very much for watching. Until next time, I do hope you find something that feeds your addiction. Take care. See you tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. for Feed Your Addiction. Again, don't forget to hit the thumbs up on your way out. Have a great evening, everyone. Bye-bye.